This is Steve Zeltzer with Workweek, and the issue of membership control and unions being responsible to the members is a issue that we've covered on Workweek, and it's important to working people that unions that they have and they give money to and they support actually take up their defense and their issues. That's critical. And joining us today is Gil Garcia. He's with Region 5 of SEIU Local 521, and also Karen Bussard, who's a member of the union and is a worker in Kern County. So welcome both of you to our show.
Great to be here.
So maybe you can talk, Karen, about your rally. I understand you had a rally, a protest to demand that the issues that you face be confronted by the union. What's going on in Kern County with SEIU members, and what are the issues?
I participated in a rally that consisted of different chapters within California, namely Kern County, Region 5. There were people from the city of Arvin, Bark, and County of Kern, and someone from Tulare, and a former employee, actual employee who got paid at the rally, and then Superior Courts of Kern County. We as members or even represented employees have the right to have our voices heard and to make decisions and have representation by the union. That is not happening. Right now, the County of Kern is in negotiations and there's a proposal on the table. However, the union has not brought it to the members to a vote. They're going right to strike. There's been no presentation. There's been no meetings. There's been nothing from the County of Kern chapter. City of Arvin, and this is actually, many people are on administrative leave because there's been retaliation, because there has been retaliation by management over there, and for them standing up for themselves. They, throughout those chapters that were there on Friday during the picket, and other chapters who were not able to make it, there is no backing of the members. We pay for representation. People call, people email, they get no response. They ask questions, they get no real answers. They just pretty much leave it to themselves. I had an employee, there was a job study by an employer, and the SEIU left that employee alone to deal with this job study by themselves. Actually, there was like 10 employees, because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what that meant. Instead of going to ask somebody for that. Region 5 Director, Yvonne de Avila, is running a dictatorship, and that there's no communication whatsoever. She monitors phone calls and emails. She gets into confidential information that she should not. She is retaliatory. If you don't go along with her narrative, then she will do everything in her power to block you from communicating with the members, to helping the members, and she'll create lies so the members distrust you.
And what are the issues that you're facing, concrete issues for the members on the job that have led to this frustration and issues that are not being addressed by the union?
Employers they know that right now the Region 5 union is not strong, and they don't fight for their members. So they are taking full advantage of it. They're placing people on leave without due course. People call and email them about stuff, just, to ask questions about their rights. No one returns their phone calls. They don't give the full story. They don't inform the members how to fight for themselves or give them the resources, because there's a lot of retaliatory issues going on. People are denied medical appointments because the supervisor decides that, no, I'm not going to do it because you're asking for too many. But that's actually a violation of state law. And there was a couple of other things, vacation denials, just bullying in the workplace by higher ups. And this is throughout all the counties in Region 5. And Yvonne refuses to help the employees. And this is not just in the past couple months. As Gil knows, I've been fighting this since she became Region 5 director 5 years ago.
Okay, thanks. And Gil, what is your thoughts on what's going on and why these issues are arising as they are?
Well, you know, whenever you have a change of leadership, that leadership always brings in their philosophy in terms of how the unit should operate. When COVID hit, you know, a lot of people were out of work. The union had to slim down. They had to rethink things, and they became more focused on money than anything else. So you had this trade-off of how do we support workers during COVID, and at the same time keep the union afloat. So, and we found in my industry, you know, we were completely shut down. People had to go find other jobs, support themselves. You know, the employer had to apply for a PPP loan in terms of keeping their payroll afloat, you know, and maintaining the staffing that they needed to serve clients. So this transferred the philosophy within the union, and it never went back. Unfortunately, the focus has been numbers now, building the union back to where it should be, or what upper management thinks it should be. So rather than taking on the issues that the members are bringing to the surface, you know, as Karen just pointed out, you know, you know, people are being denied vacation, medical. You know, I have people who are whistleblowers, and the employer is putting them on administrative leave in terms of retaliation. You know, I have people who are being sexually harassed, and I'm elevating that in terms of, hey, management needs to step in and fix this, you know, to my union leadership. And they said, don't worry, Gil, we've got it covered. And I get back to the person who's the female suffering this harassment, and she says, Gil, nobody's done anything, you know.
So these are serious issues then you're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking serious issues, and it's because, as Karen is pointing out, you know, we have a director that's over 2 different counties, Tulare and Kern here, and she's the shot caller. You know, she's the one that makes movement happen or no movement happen. So when you have a person that wants to have that overarching full authority and power, if she doesn't want something to move because of the politics, and what I'm finding out here is when I talk about politics, in a specific chapter, you'll have a president, the vice president, the secretary, and then other leadership within that. And if she likes those leaders, then, you know, she'll work with them, help them. But if she doesn't like that leadership structure or those individuals, she'll do everything that she can to dismantle that leadership. You know, when we did the call to action on the 18th of this month, it was amazing what happened in terms of that call to action, because the number of participants and chapters that joined us and individuals who worked there, because we did it right near the courthouse. And as they were leaving for work after 3:30, we ran into these individuals, and one particular individual, and he gave us a story where he was the VP of his chapter, and because the director didn't like him, did everything to smear him and have the members remove him as well as the president. And they just got tired of that type of smear. So they said, you know what? The heck with you guys. You can have your union. You know, we're no longer going to serve as leaders. So, and they just dropped off the map. So, and I've served as a president of a chapter where I founded a chapter for SEIU 521, where I was the chapter president, chief negotiator, shop steward. So maintaining that particular organization in terms of union leadership, as well as maintaining the morale for those particular employees. Because when the union doesn't take action, what it does is it impacts the lives of these individuals. It puts a psychological burden on them where they're saying, Gil, we're paying union dues and the union's doing nothing. You know, it's hard to combat that when they don't see action. And then we find out, that the union has changed its tactics in terms of the type of service delivery. Because of COVID, they removed the internal organizers who are over several chapters, and everything used to be funneled directly to them. And then they put in what's called the Management Resource Center, which is now this think tank center. When someone has a problem, the IO, the internal organizer, refers that particular union member to the MRC, and then it takes MRC, a day or two to respond. And they're not close to the ground in terms of what's happening in that chapter with the management and so forth. The only person that's close to the ground is the internal organizer that knows the whole thing. And, and it just becomes a convoluted mess and nothing moves. It's just like hitting a wall. It just comes to a stop. And all you have is email communication between the Management Resource Center, the think tank, and the union member, and the IO is completely cut out of it. There's no cease and desist. There's no emails that are going to the employer, making them aware that we've received a complaint from an employee. We'd like to investigate that complaint, or cease and desist. The evidence we already have in hand. So that's created a union in terms of SEIU 521, where members feel isolated and they feel like the union doesn't care. Although SEIU 521, it's a great union to be a part of. We need that union protection. We need all the expertise that a union brings to bear, especially with Kern County, which is a very conservative, anti-union county. So, but we're finding that because of the union structure, it becomes, like Karen mentioned, hey, there's just no power. The union becomes a paper tiger because of the length of time it takes it to even respond to management. I had a situation, and she mentioned the city of Arvin, where the employees rose up and because the union wasn't willing to take action, they did a letter of no confidence against the city manager and submitted that to the city council. 8 of the individuals out of the 20-some employees that work for the city, small little city here in the south part of Kern County, 8 of them were either terminated, lost their jobs, put on administrative leave. One person for 5 weeks, and then the end result of the 5 weeks was there was no findings. The whole intent was to make them an example. And what did the union do in response? That right there.
And Karen mentioned that there was a proposal, a contract proposal, which has been submitted, and the members had no input. There was no vote on it.
Yeah. So we're talking the largest chapter of SEIU Region 5, which is the Kern County Employees Chapter. So representing over 4,000 employees. So where they're going through negotiations right now, in that negotiations process for number one, for members, communication in terms of what's happening within the negotiations should be communicated to the members. That's not happening. So we're seeing zero visibility in terms of the negotiations team that's duking it out with the Kern County attorneys, CEO office, what have you. So where they're not communicating to the membership, here's what we're fighting for today, or here's the gains that we made today. You know, here's a tentative proposal that we signed off today. You know, meaning these are things that the union is doing for you, and you know, eventually we're gonna have to come back to you anyway, because it's just a tentative agreement and get your okay in terms of vote on it. So, but they're not doing that. You know, and then the other is the other thing that Karen hasn't mentioned yet is that you have certain areas where unfortunately the union doesn't support those particular areas, meaning those areas have been adverse to the director, and therefore the director's just like throwing them to the wolves and say, hey, you guys are on your own, you know, whatever everybody else gets, maybe you'll get the same. You know, I'm not going to be fighting for that particular department area, unfortunately. And then we have one area like in the courts, public defender's office, they just got fed up. They said, we want out. So they filed for decertification. The administrative judge gave them a 1-year cooling off period to think about it. And then after that 1-year cooling off period, they make a decision whether they want to stick with SEIU 521 or not. So, and we're at the point right now, you know, after our call to action that took place October 18th, we realized that the groups that are involved in this, it's not just specific isolated chapters, it's across the board in terms of chapters. So that we're seeing, as I put it, you know, there's, it's tough enough to have a bad employer, but to have a bad union representing you. You know,
Okay, Karen, you were going to add?
Guys that are supposed to be taking care of you just aren't doing their job. So, hold on, I'm going to shut the door here.
Okay, no problem. So one of the issues, Karen, I mean, your local is big, as many of these SEIU locals are in California. 2015 has 400,000 members of home care and nursing care. Have you reached out to the president of SEIU 521 and the executive director of 521? And are these like director, are they appointed or elected by the membership?
So we're talking about elected officials. Last month, I took up a delegation of 6 individuals to address the executive board. So to address CEO president SEIU 521 and the director for Region 5 in terms of what's been going on. We were hoping as a result of that they would take action, that they would hear the challenging problems and issues that members are facing. The feedback out of that was it was just swept under the rug, and that what they wanted to know is who was the person behind orchestrating these members to come up, you know, so and cause problems. You know, we just became troublemakers, and Karen knows what that means in terms of becoming a troublemaker. Meaning when you speak out, even though we did it in a very professional, well-intentioned manner, which was to improve the union, we were just looked at as, hey, we don't want to hear that. We don't want the executive board to hear that, and therefore no action is going to be taken. So.
Karen, you have anything to add?
Yes, part of Bill's statement and my ongoing fight on behalf of members. During COVID, Yvonne was Region 5 director. I worked for the County of Kern, and with the County of Kern, the former Chief Human Resources Officer, Devin Brown, we were meeting consistently and constantly to go through the COVID. We were able to secure no loss of jobs. We were able to secure telework stipend, daycare stipend, because that was huge, because daycare was closed and people were paying family members or doing whatever they took. She was not a part of that at all. And we had to work our butts off. We checked on the members. We would call the ones that were at home, actually had to go to work. I was one of those, made sure that people had PPE. We put our faces out there and we had communication. After COVID, for the County of Kern chapter, at least, what Gil explained earlier started happening. Members were being cut off, things were not happening. I know after our contract was signed, a proposal was withheld for 2 months. Yvonne never even responded. It was a 25% raise. Every COLA we've had to fight for. They hold on to the proposal, and then we have to ask for it to go to a vote. I was part of leadership. I was part of the chapter board. I was part of the bargaining team. I was a shop steward, and we fought for the members, and we had that relationship, like Gil has a relationship with some of the members, and she doesn't like that. And the fact is if you fight for the members and listen to them, that's how you get membership up. Because if they don't trust you, they're going to leave you. And that's where you get your strength, and that's where you get your power, because these members and employees, they're paying into this. And if it was a product, honestly, I would ask for a refund right now because it's not working. Before it was working, I believe in a union like Gil. This isn't anti-union, it's anti-leadership. We need to change the way the union is being ran. And I think it goes all the way from the bottom to the top. There, especially about elections, like Gil said, she doesn't like you, she will sabotage you. She promises things. She doesn't either interferes with voting or doesn't let people vote, doesn't let people that there's meetings, or doesn't hold meetings so the members' voices can be heard. And it's like, you're talking about membership and numbers. Well, those would go up if you actually showed a result and showed you cared about the people who are paying your salary. So
okay, well, what can members do? I mean, there are other SEIU members in California nationally that may have similar problems.
Correct.
I mean, what can people do? What can workers do? What do you think they should do?
Rise up. They need to have their voices heard. I started off with the issues very local. I would email Yvonne. And then I had to escalate it and escalate it and escalate it. And I escalated it to SEIU Local 521 CEO Rico Mendez, and to the president, Melissa Willett, and to some of the e-board members and delegates and trustees. No response. I've escalated it to international. Sometimes I can tell I get a response. They don't actually respond to me, but things happen. But overall, I'm ignored. So I started, when I do emails, I include everybody that has reached out to me and given me their email address. I've had, since the picket, I've had people reach out to me and say they would have joined the picket if they had known about it. People are wanting to speak, but like you said, how do they do that? So they need to email their local executive board or SEIU International and have their voices heard. They can contact Gil, they can contact me, they can contact other people who are part of this movement to take back our union.
And of course, one of the issues, the new president, April Verrett, is being challenged by one of the members who ran against her at the national convention. And April Verrett was head of a local in California of 400,000, 2015. A local of 400,000 people, I mean, in which most of them are not active, is a real issue. If you have a large local, and that's what's happened with these mergers, it becomes more and more difficult to get a response. But obviously, you and your members are speaking out and you're rallying. And I think that people have to become aware if they need to be protected on the job. And if there's retaliation, sexual harassment, and others, people have a right to be protected. That's why they join unions. That's why they need unions. So,
Right.
And, Steve, you asked a really important question in regards to what can we do? What can members do? How can we change the system? We realize the union's based on only one thing. That's numbers. We've got to get the numbers together and as a coalition, forming a coalition. And, we've, since we've done our call to action last Friday on the 18th, other individuals have reached out to us from other unions, meaning we have a gentleman from Oregon who's reached out to us already and saying, hey, I read the article. It sounds like you guys are going through the same thing we're going through. So we need to put together a coalition to wake up, SEIU, not just at the 521. What we're experiencing, we're realizing other unions are experiencing. But the only way we're going to do it is it's almost like forming a brand new union all over again, coalescing everybody together, and putting together a strategy plan that says, how do we best effectively utilize the union in regards to safeguarding our membership, making sure they have a good working environment, making sure that if there's any problems, you have trained shop stewards that know exactly what to do. And if the shop stewards aren't available, every member knows the second level of protection that's out there, a person you can get, talk to. Before it was always, we go to the internal organizer, and then our shop steward. We had two lines we could follow in that regard. So, we need to have better training for members as well as the leadership within each chapter within each unit. We need to codify policies and procedures. We actually need a handbook so that everybody knows what their rights are as a union member. So that you get an employee handbook that tells you if you screw up, this is the steps that can be taken against you, including up to termination. We need a handbook for union members to be able to look at and read and realize, oh my God, I didn't realize employers couldn't do that to you. I didn't realize employers couldn't just at whim change my schedule or reduce my hours. Have me do things outside my job duties as a permanent thing. So, but we just don't have that. So the union members, for the most part, if they're not shop stewards, if they're not part of the leadership chapter team, then they're out of the loop in terms of knowledge and understanding. So we need to start imparting that knowledge and understanding. And when we do that, it just strengthens the union. It just strengthens the members that, hey, did you know this? And, talking to other members, God, I didn't even know our union could do that. I didn't know we had that power, So, and our numbers start building without, the spending, right now, every internal organizer, they're spending 80% of their time going out there trying to sign up people who are not a part of the union, but are within the union. In terms of the unit itself, they qualify for union membership, but they're just not signed up as dues paying members. So, every month they get a printout of every chapter in the individual's list of who's a union member, who's not a union member, and then they have to yellow highlight that printout and go after that person, or find someone who knows them to, try and connect them. And it's kind of crazy because you've got the union members who are kind of angry and frustrated, or say that we never get to see our union rep. No one in the union ever comes and sees us or talks to us, and unless they're looking for members, that's the only time they come around. So it's a real defeating purpose unfortunately, the strategy there just doesn't work. So holding on to members, the new employee orientation, they're just not getting the numbers that they need to get. So, but yeah, the strategy that we're going to employ here is we're going to bring together a coalition, and we're going to look at how can we make the union better, what our approach needs to be with the management, meaning we can threaten them to say, we'll just drop our union membership and be non-dues paying members. Yeah, it'll take us a year before you take us off the rolls, but at least hey, we've lost 50 members. We got 50 people that said to drop my union dues because the union's not listening to it. You get 50 people that do that, and they're like, we need to start paying attention. So it's a numbers game, and that's how we leverage and we create strength. Besides putting forth good ideas and strategies to help build the union, make it stronger, which therefore equals greater union membership anyway, and the outcome. But doing it the right way, not the authoritarian, not the way they're doing it right now. So.
Okay, well, I want to thank both of you for joining us. We've been talking with Bill Garcia. He's SEIU 521 Region 5, and also Karen Bussard, who is a worker in Kern County, and they've been talking about some of the issues they face as workers and union members fighting for the union to take up a defense of them and have a democratic process for defending their rights on the job in the community. So thanks for joining us on Work Week.
And Steve, hopefully we'll join you again in about 6 months and give you an update in terms of progress that we've made.
Very good.